Let's read Cicero's Pro Caelio, chapter 9. We've skipped a bunch in the middle. That was, we're going back in to part of where he's going to start talking about Catiline soon. Verad istum orationem, brevis est defensio. My defense is short, is the core of that sentence. What it whole sentence says is, indeed, my defense against that whole speech is short. It's a very matter-of-fact statement, opening statement here. I don't need to say much, is what he's getting at. And it's very factual, kind of like, I don't need to say much. I'm confident. That's part of the tone here. And the tone kind of establishment things I've highlighted in green. Nam quoad aetas marci Caeli dare potuit isti suspicioni locum. For insofar as the age was like the youth of Marcus Caelius was able to give a place for that suspicion, that kind of suspected accusation. Insofar as the age of Marcus Caelius could give place for that. Fuit primum ipsius pudore dendetiam patris diligentia disciplinaque munita. It was at first munita, and munita fuit is an alternate form for munitas. It was defended first by the pudor, the sense of shame, of himself, and his very own sense of shame, and then also by the diligence and discipline of his father. These two are, I'd say, antithesis kind of things. It's like his own personal responsibility, his sense of his own responsibility, and the diligence and discipline of his father. So it's him and his father that defended him against being a dodgy young person. Qui ut huic togam virilem dedit. And then qui is referring to the father. When he gave the toga of manhood to this man. So he's about to talk about when Marcus Caelius, the younger one, got given the toga of manhood, the sign of him becoming a young adult, by his father. So when his father gave him the toga of manhood, and then he breaks off, nihil dicam, hoc loco de me, tantum sit quantum vos existimatis. I will say nothing in this place about myself. Let it be as much as you think it is. Hoc dicam hunca patre continuo ad me esse deductum. I will say this. This man was brought by his father immediately to me. So he does talk, he does do a little bit of a plug for how he's been a good mentor figure to this young man, Caelius. I'll say nothing about myself, but I will say this, that this man got brought to me straight away. And what's this tone being established here? It's a kind of personable tone. He's breaking off, he's giving you a little personal info, and he's using the first person pronoun de me, and like decom, first person verb forms, and ad me. Yeah, he's definitely got a bit of personal, direct, first-hand experience with this guy, and that's part of why that tone is effective. It has an authority of, I know this guy, you can trust me. Nemo hunc Marcum Caelium in illo aetatis florea vidit. Nisi aut cum patre, aut mecum, aut in Marci grassi castissima domo, cum artibus honestissimus erudiretur. No one saw this man Marcus Caelius in that flower of youth, unless he was either with his father or with me, or he was being erudiretur, educated or trained up in the house that is Castissima, the very pure house of Marcus Crassus, and he was being trained up with the most honest, the most honourable arts or skills. What have we got here? Aetatis, the idea of age, actually I highlighted it earlier as well, is a running theme. The idea that Caelius is a young man, or at least some of the things that he was accused of having done can be excused on account of his age at the time. It's a very convenient line of argument to bring up the age, because age is something that you will then grow out of. And it's also something that everyone has once been vulnerable to, like being young, tender, vulnerable, easily swayed is not something that that can be easily criticized. Like everyone gets that stage, and the flower, the idea of the flower of youth has that idea of youth's vulnerability, also youth's promise of like the bloom, the way that young people can be quite productive, but also the bloom indicates like how much fruit is going to follow. Like it's got this whole series of connected metaphors that actually a lot of the flourishing metaphors are going to come back later. So in this vulnerable time, the but beautiful time, the flower of youth, and out cum patre, out mecum, out in Marci Crassi Castissima Domo is tricolon, because there's three phrases. They're increasing in length, sort of. Cum patre and mecum don't really increase in length. There's also anaphora, because it's all introduced by the same word, out, out, out. And they're all kind of building on the theme. Either he's with his father or with me, or in Marcus Crassus's house. And Marcus Crassus and Cicero are on the defense team for Caelius. So it's quite appropriate that both of them are mentioned here as mentors to Caelius. Again, sort of establishing that fatherly connection of like, he was a kid and he was protected by us. So anyway, when he was in that vulnerable stage, he was in the most castissima, the most pure house, and he was being educated in the most honourable arts. These superlatives are definitely a good example of word choice, elevating just how well he was cared for and how well he was brought up. And then we've also got the theme of domo. And I really like the chapter 9 commentary on this. So by describing the house of Marcus Crassus as Castissima, Cicero introduces the theme of domus into the speech. Domus, the house, connoted to the Romans not merely the physical building, but the family, both extended and historical, that lived in or had lived in the house. This guy asserts that for the elite of Rome, social and political status derived their ethical authority from personal conduct, both in public and in private, and the home was the symbol of this authority. So the home really matters. It's like your private conduct in your home really matters. In Pro Caelio, the domus, as much as any other form of argument or evidence, comes to be a witness for character. And this is definitely seen when we later hear about Clodius' house. Thus, while Cicero describes Caelius in his formative years moving directly from the house of his father to the house of Cicero and thence to the house of Crassus, in the subsequent chapters, this is by contrast, Cicero will make the house of Clodia reflect her degenerate character. So I hope that gives you some ideas on how to tackle what kind of themes what kind of literary devices and what kind of beauty and tone is in this section.